You know, when you're like swiping through a dating app, right? And you see this incredibly polished profile, perfect lighting, adventurous hobbies. I mean, they sound absolutely flawless.
Right, and then you actually meet them for date one.
Exactly. You meet up and it's a completely different person.
Mhm.
They hate the outdoors, they complain to the waiter, and you just immediately feel cheated. That exact bait and switch is happening in the job market right now.
Welcome to today's deep dive into the source material. If you are an HR decision maker, you really need to hear this. We are looking at a comprehensive HR guide on employer branding to uncover our mission for today. When salaries and benefits and roles are completely identical, why do some companies, drown in top-tier applicants while others just hear crickets?
Well, the secret currency there is trust. In an unsettled economy, candidates aren't just evaluating if they can do the job. They're actively trying to figure out if they can actually trust the organization.
Which makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. And earning that trust from day one requires a genuine employer value proposition, or EVP. This is basically the baseline promise of what you actually offer when it comes to pay, growth, purpose, and flexibility.
Okay, but I have to play devil advocate here for a second. Let's say I'm an HR director and I urgently need to fill a critical role. The temptation to slightly exaggerate our remote work policy or maybe our culture just to get talent in the door is huge. I mean, is a slightly inflated promise really worse than losing a great candidate to a competitor?
Oh, absolutely is. The fallout from a fictional workplace is just severe. There is LinkedIn data that reveals first-year turnover drops significantly, but only when the brand promise matches the employee's lived reality.
Wait, really? First year turnover?
Yeah, think about it. If you promise a dynamic, flexible culture and then deliver rigid micromanagement, that new hire is instantly looking for the exit. So you lose the talent plus the money and time you spend acquiring them. A broken promise destroys psychological safety way faster than having no promise at all.
Wow, okay. So if an honest EVP is the ultimate goal, who's responsible for actually proving it? I mean, it has to come from the top, right?
Right, exactly.
But when executives hide behind those glossy, highly produced corporate videos, candidates treat those like heavy social media filters. They just assume the reality is being masked.
That is spot on. The Edelman Trust at Work report actually explains the mechanism behind this. They found that trust is contagious downward.
Contagious downward.
Yeah, so when employees see executives hiding bad news or using, corporate doublespeak, it creates this culture of self-preservation. That lack of psychological safety trickles down to managers and eventually hits the front line.
That reminds me of the example in the guide, the mid-sized firm that just threw out an expensive culture video.
Oh yeah, that's a great example. They filmed an unscripted conversation with 3 employees instead, and those employees actually debated a recent structural change right on camera.
Which is wild for a corporate video.
It is. They didn't even agree on the strategy, but they stayed at the company because they trusted leadership's baseline integrity.
Showing people openly disagreeing but still respecting each other is just incredibly powerful. It's messier, sure, but vastly more believable. So how do you actually convince hesitant executives to drop the polish and share the hard stuff, like missed targets or failed projects?
Well, you show them that candidates value authenticity over perfection. Acknowledging a flaw signals that leadership is actually grounded in reality.
And that need for respect and reality doesn't just start after someone is hired. I mean, candidates are evaluating an organization's tone long before the interview, right?
Oh, for sure. Vetting runs both ways now. If a candidate experiences a sterile, silent hiring process, they project that right onto the company culture. Silence from HR is a massive brand killer.
Which brings up the background screening process. That often feels like a vague, silent black box to candidates. It just creates unnecessary anxiety.
Yeah, it's one of the most mishandled touch points.
Right. And HR teams usually view those compliance steps as just a legal headache. But if you flip the script, how do you use that required consent as a moment to actually reinforce trust?
Well, look at the GDPR requirements for informed consent in the EU. Instead of treating it as just a box to check, you can outline exactly which checks you are running and why.
Oh, so just being radically transparent about it.
Exactly. Give candidates a direct channel to correct anything that gets flagged. Transforming a rigid compliance step into a respectful, clear process quietly proves that your organization treats people as adults.
That makes a lot of sense. But I guess all these external touch points, the honest EVP, the visible leadership, the respectful candidate experience, they are all completely useless if the internal reality doesn't back them up.
You hit the nail on the head. You cannot communicate externally what you don't embody internally. Gallup recently found that global employee engagement is sitting at only 21%.
Only 21%. That is bleak.
It's terrible. And that disengagement doesn't just look bad. It causes a $438 billion drag on productivity worldwide.
Wow.
Yeah, because disillusioned employees just do the bare minimum and check out mentally.
So getting your own house in order really is step one, because your genuinely engaged employees are always your most credible marketing tool.
Right. A recommendation from someone who actually works there beats a polished careers page any day of the week. It all comes down to the consistent practice of making an honest promise and then actually keeping it.
I love that. So we will leave you with this a provocative thought to mull over. If you asked your newest hires to rewrite your company's job postings based solely on their first 90 days, how drastically different would those postings look from what you have online right now?